Hey everyone, it's me, I'm back, and today we're going to be practicing quite a bit with gouache. So I'm not very good at gouache. I think I've only used it 1 or 2 times. It's kind of a mix between acrylic paint and watercolor paint. So it's super highly pigmented, water soluble, and I enjoy using it. It's just I haven't had a ton of practice with it, so that's what this video is all about. What I'm painting here is kind of a variation on a green tree boa. It's a red emerald tree boa, I think. For someone who loves reptiles, I really should know the name of the reptiles that I'm painting. But it starts off with this really nice orangey red. You saw me mixing that at the beginning of the video. And I wanted to try and do a little bit more, intentive shading, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted to be more intentional with where I put my color, but I started with an intention and then just drowned the whole thing in the red paint as kind of a base. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of layering on top of it lighter colors. This is me trying to do the eye with that same light color, and then I decided promptly that I hated it, so I just cleaned it off. Didn't really get all the way off, but I'd fix that later. And here we're adding some super high contrast with a nice, almost like olivey green, or lime green, I guess. But yeah, I tried to do some leaves. It didn't work out, clearly, so I kind of just did theoretical leaves. Adding on the markings was definitely my favorite part. I used kind of a lighter shade of that same red, but then here I am fixing the eye with this gold, and I did this off camera, but with the spare gold on my brush, I kind of went over the markings of the snake. See, you can see right here, to kind of give it a little bit more pop. And then I went in to shade with colored pencil, and colored pencil really gave that missing dimension that I wasn't able to get with gouache. So I do that in the next painting as well, because we're doing 2 today. I then went in with a little bit more of a darker green to make the whole subject kind of stand out from the background. But this is my red emerald tree boa, and I hope you guys like it. Before we jump into the second piece, I realized I taped over the drawing, so here I am just using the X-Acto knife to kind of cut a space out. Didn't end up mattering at the end because I just colored over it anyway, but that's what I was doing. I called this reptile so many things while I was working on it because I just saw the reference photo and didn't know what kind of reptile it was, and then I did Googling and realized I technically was right. So at first I thought it was a monkey-tailed skink because of how long the tail was. It's not a monkey-tailed skink. I then saw it was a Mexican alligator lizard, and I had been calling it an Abronia lizard, but turns out Abronia is just the genus of lizard that the Mexican alligator lizard is from, so you learn something new every day. But anyway, we're starting off here with a light colored base and then traveling straight into a darker color because I wanted to try a different technique for this painting. I didn't want to just do that same wash of color because that was a, mediocre accident. I'm not going to call it a happy accident because I wasn't super pleased with it. But yeah, I didn't do any Googling, because I told myself I was going to watch a tutorial before I painted this painting, and then I got, too excited. But I am so pleased with how this blending is turning out. Just based on how, curved the body is. I didn't have an actual reference photo for the pose, just for the lizard itself. So I am just so excited with how the shading came out. And then I changed the position of the legs as well and accidentally had some overlapping with the reptile's toes, but I think it turned out, so I'm not too concerned. I then went in with a dark green, and this was some pretty intense shading for me. I've always been a baby when it comes to shading. Like, I'm always concerned that I'm gonna overshade, and as a result, I never ever shade my drawings enough. So one of my goals this year for my art is to be more, confident with my shading abilities, and then here I am deciding that I wanted the background to be just as contrasting as the emerald snake. So I used a bright orange, and initially, like at this stage, I was like, oh shit, what did I do? Like I messed it up so bad. But it's growing on me. Like since I finished the drawing, I definitely am a big fan of that orange background. And filling in the eye here now, you just saw me try to rectify my mistakes with the orange, and then coming in once again with my beloved colored pencils. This reptile, I keep wanting to call it a skink. It's not a skink, but this lizard has really nice plated armor, essentially, and so I went in to add the details with my colored pencil. I know pretty much every artist watching can totally relate to this feeling, but this whole piece was just like I was screaming mentally in my head that I had messed it up, like from the background, from the shading, although I did really like the shading at the end, to adding the scales. I was like, this is a mistake, I'm ruining this painting, it's terrible. But I was already so far in, and the color pencils obviously don't lift, so I was just like, bring it on, let's just finish it and see what happens. And honestly, I'm really happy with how the scales turned out. I still wish like they looked different because they don't look how I imagine them in my head, but they still look good, which, or at least to me, they look good, so I'm happy about that. After going in with my white colored pencil and adding some much needed highlights, I then started on what to me was the most terrifying part of this drawing of all, and that was adding detail to the head. I loved how the eye turned out. I love how clean the contrast is from the head to the jaw, and going in with shading, just like I was so tense the entire time. But I really love how it turned out. I was able to get like the crest a little bit. I then went in with a little bit more shading and then those sweet highlights, and then I forgot to add any scales to the legs, so here I am just kind of adding a little bit of detail there. And that's it. That's my Mexican alligator lizard. Here are the pieces side by side, and I am so happy with how they turned out. Honestly, I like the alligator lizard more than I like the snake, and that's saying something because I was way more stressed about that than the snake. Let me know which one you like more in the comment section down below, and also let me know what other stuff I should paint, because I am really enjoying this gouache colored pencil combo that I've been working on, so I hope to do it a little bit more in the future. I've got a few other projects lined up, and I can't wait to show you guys. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!